Stop everything. I need you to close every other tab on your browser. I need you to put down your coffee, silence your phone, and lock the door. I need your absolute, undivided attention for the next 15 minutes, because the financial media is lying to you. They are lying to you by omission. They are showing you the scoreboard, but they are hiding the fact that the stadium is burning down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Veiled Wealth. You are looking at your trading screen today, Friday, January 9th, 2026, and you are seeing the price of silver closing at 80,017. You're seeing a massive green candle, up 4.6% in a single trading session. And I know what the sentiment is out there. I see the comment section, I see the tweets, I see the Reddit threads. Everyone is celebrating, everyone is high-fiving. Everyone is saying, well, we made it. The breakout is here. The bull market is finally back. You are wrong. You are looking at the smoke and ignoring the fire. The price action at $80 is just the symptom. But the real story, the catastrophic structural failure that is happening right now, is buried deep inside the technical clearing reports of the CME Group. While the world cheers for the price, the plumbing of the global silver market just sprung a leak that threatens to drain the entire reservoir. We have just received the confirmed data for the January 8th trade date, and it confirms a phenomenon so rare, so dangerous, and so technically abnormal that most modern traders have never even seen it in their lifetime. We are not talking about a short squeeze. We are not talking about buying the dip. We are talking about something called backward rolling. I need you to understand the gravity of this situation. In the futures market, time is supposed to flow in one direction, like a river. As a contract approaches expiration, traders roll forward. They sell the expiring month, like January, and they buy the future month, like March. Why? Because they are speculators. They don't want the heavy lifting of physical delivery. They don't want to pay for armored trucks. They just want the price exposure. But yesterday, that river stopped flowing. And then it started flowing upstream. We just got the confirmed delivery numbers, and they are absolutely terrifying for the bullion banks who manage this casino. 1,624 contracts. That is 1,624 entities who stood up in the middle of a non-delivery month and slammed their fist on the table. That represents over 8 million ounces of physical silver. And here is the critical part. These people did not just stand for delivery. They aggressively moved their positions backward in time. They abandoned the liquid, easy-to-trade March contract. They paid the spread. They paid the transaction costs. They took on the logistical nightmare of immediate settlement. Why? Why would a sophisticated institutional investor rush into an expiring contract at the last possible second just to get their hands on the metal right now? Why wouldn't they just wait 60 days for the March delivery? There's only one answer. Fear. Absolute, unadulterated fear. This is a ghost signal. It is the kind of data point that you only see right before a currency collapse or a supply chain seizure. The price at $80 tells you that demand is high. But 1,124 backward rolls tell you that trust is dead. It tells you that the whales, the industrial giants, the battery manufacturers, and the sovereign wealth funds have stopped believing that the metal will be there in March. They are looking at the vaults, they are looking at the Chinese export controls, and they are realizing that a paper promise for March is worthless if the vault is empty in February. So they are grabbing the chairs while the music is still playing. They are looting the warehouse before the doors close. To understand why this is the death knell for the paper market, you have to understand the mechanics of the trap they just walked into. We need to strip away the jargon and look at the trust signal that is flashing red on the dashboard. Normally, a delivery notice is a routine administrative event. But when you see delivery notices spiking in a month that is supposed to be dormant, it is like seeing water recede from the beach before a tsunami. The January contract is technically an active delivery month, but historically, the volume dries up by the second week. The big players usually move their money to March, which is the next major front month. That is where the liquidity is. That is where the safety is supposed to be. But look at the open interest data. Look at what happened to the March contract yesterday. While 1,600 contracts appeared out of nowhere in January to demand metal, the March contract bled 2,563 contracts. Money is fleeing the future. It is a run on the bank, but instead of cash, they are running for bars. This phenomenon is essentially the market screaming that time has become a risk factor. In a healthy market, you are happy to wait. You trust that JP Morgan has the silver. You trust that the COMEX has the inventory. But when you're willing to pay a premium, when you are willing to execute a backward roll to get the metal today, you are saying that the risk of waiting 60 days is infinite. You're saying that you believe the probability of a default between now and March is non-zero. And that belief is contagious. Once one whale starts backward rolling, the others see it. They see the inventory dropping, they see the delivery notices flying, and they ask themselves, if I wait until March, will I be the one left holding the bag? So they join the stampede, they sell March, they buy January, they buy February, they collapse the timeline. This creates a vicious feedback loop called backwardation. Normally the futures price is higher than the spot price because you have to pay for storage and insurance. But right now, the spot price is bidding higher than the future. The market is incentivizing you to empty the vaults. The market is punishing you for holding paper. The 1,624 contracts that stood for delivery yesterday, I would bet my entire reputation that those bars are not going to a warehouse in Delaware. I would bet they are going to a port, they are being prepared for export, they are leaving the COMEX ecosystem forever. And when you take 8 million ounces out of the float in a single day, in a month that is supposed to be quiet, you fracture the illusion of liquidity. The bullion banks rely on that illusion. They rely on the fact that for every 100 ounces of paper silver they sell, only one person will actually ask for the metal. But yesterday, the ratio broke. Yesterday, the people asking for the metal overwhelmed the people rolling the paper. This is why the price is at $80. It isn't speculation, it is a repricing of risk. It is the market realizing that a paper contract for silver is no longer a substitute for silver itself. It is like holding a ticket to a concert that has already been oversold by 500%. The ticket is nice, but if you don't get through this door now, you aren't seeing the show. We need to dissect the mechanics of this anomaly even further. We need to explain the economic force that causes a time preference collapse, because when the convenience yield goes parabolic, the futures market dies. I know that sounds like boring academic jargon, but right now, convenience yield is the most violent force in the global financial system. It is the invisible hand that is strangling the COMEX. In a normal world, holding physical silver was a burden. It was inconvenient. You have to pay for a vault. You have to pay for insurance. You have to hire a guard. So traditionally, the market rewarded you for holding the paper contract because the paper was easy. This condition is called contango. It is the sign of a healthy, supplied market. But yesterday, that logic inverted. The backward rolling we just witnessed proves that the convenience yield of holding physical silver has just gone parabolic. Suddenly, the benefit of having the metal in your hand, right here, right now, outweighs all the costs of storage and insurance combined. Why? Because the market has realized that the paper contract carries a new hidden cost, counterparty risk. It is the risk of the empty vault. Think of it like water in a desert. If you are standing in a city with plenty of water, a voucher for a bottle to be delivered next week is fine. You are happy to wait. But if you're stranded in the middle of the Sahara Desert and you are dying of thirst, a voucher for next week is worthless. You will trade your entire life savings for a bottle of water right now. That is convenience yield. It is the desperation premium. And right now, the silver market is in the desert. The 1,624 entities who rolled backward yesterday are the thirsty men. They looked at the March contract and saw a voucher for water in a future that might never come. They looked at the geopolitical chaos. They looked at the shrinking inventories, and they realized that time is no longer an asset. Time is an enemy. But there is one final piece to this puzzle. We know why they are scared, but where is the silver actually going? When these 1,600 contracts get delivered, where do the bars vanish to? They don't disappear into thin air. They are being sucked into a specific gravitational vortex that has opened up on the other side of the planet. We need to connect the dots between the New York panic and the Shanghai premium. We need to look at the Asian Vortex. The reason the convenience yield is so high in New York is because the price in China is 7 higher. The thirst is global, but the water is flowing east. Let's follow the money. The trail leads directly across the Pacific Ocean, straight into the vaults of the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The contracts that stood for delivery yesterday didn't just decide to hold physical silver for fun. They are responding to the most powerful economic force on the planet, arbitrage. Right now, as we speak on Friday, January 9th, there is a massive price dislocation. While you are looking at the COMEX price of $80 in New York, the price of physical silver in Shanghai is trading significantly higher. We are seeing premiums of $7 or more per ounce. Do you understand what that means for a global trader? It means that if you can get your hands on a bar of silver in New York for 80, you can instantly turn around and sell it in China for 87. That is a risk-free profit of nearly 10% in a matter of days. It is an infinite money glitch. And the only thing stopping you, the only bottleneck, is actually getting the physical metal out of the COMEX vault. This explains the backward rolling perfectly. The traders who are rushing into the January contract aren't just scared of a default, they are greedy. They are racing to grab the inventory in New York so they can ship to Shanghai before the window closes. Every day they wait is a day of lost profit. They are cannibalizing the March contract to feed the January export machine. They are draining the West to feed the East. This is why the convenience yield is exploding. The convenience is the ability to export. The West is currently holding a going out of business sale on silver, and the East is buying the entire store. The 1,600 contracts yesterday were just the early shoppers rushing the doors. The real crowd hasn't even arrived yet. But it isn't just about profit. It is about strategy. China isn't paying a premium because they like shiny rocks. They are paying a premium because they need the metal. As of January the 1st, 2026, China implemented strict export controls. They have effectively told the world, what is in China stays in China, but they didn't stop importing. They are hoarding. They are building a strategic silver reserve to match their dominance in solar panel manufacturing. They know that silver is the new oil. They know that the green energy transition is impossible without it. So they are using their massive trade surplus to suck every available ounce of silver out of the Western financial system. They are weaponizing the arbitrage. They are keeping the Shanghai price artificially high to act as a vacuum cleaner for global inventory. And the Western banks, JP Morgan, the COMEX, they are helpless to stop it. They are bound by their own rules. If a trader stands for delivery in New York, the bank must give them the metal. They cannot say, no, we don't want you to ship it to China. That would be a default. So they are forced to hand over the bars. They are forced to watch their vaults drain day by day, knowing full well that those bars are never coming back. Once a bar enters the Shanghai Gold Exchange ecosystem, it is gone. It is removed from the Western float forever. It is a one-way valve. We have the price breakout, we have the backward rolling anomaly, we have the time preference collapse, and we have the Asian Vortex. All of these roads lead to the same destination. They lead to a price target that sounded impossible just a few months ago, but now looks mathematically guaranteed. We need to talk about triple digits. The bridge to $100 has been built. It is no longer a question of if, it is barely even a question of when. The mechanics of the market have already decided the outcome. You have to understand that markets like this do not reverse. When trust breaks, it does not heal overnight. When a depositor runs to the bank to pull their cash, they don't turn around and put it back the next day because the manager smiled at them. Once the fear of a shortage sets in, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The backward rolling we saw yesterday is just the first tremor of the earthquake. Next, we will see the industrial users panic. The solar companies, the battery makers, the defense contractors. They will look at this data and realize they are naked. They will enter the market, not to speculate, but to hoard. They will buy at $80. They will buy at $90. They will buy at $100 because the alternative is shutting down their factories. So what does this mean for you? It is simple. Do not be shaken out. Do not look at the volatility that is coming and get scared. The banks will try to fight back. They will try to smash the paper price in the overnight sessions. They will try to paint the charts red to convince you that the rally is over. But you know the truth. You know that every time they smash the paper price, they just widen the spread with Shanghai. They just make the vacuum cleaner stronger. The system is broken. The trust that held the paper market together for 50 years has evaporated in a puff of logic. We are moving back to a world of hard assets, a world where possession is 10/10 of the law, a world where wealth in hand destroys wealth on paper. We are looking at a target of $100, not as a ceiling, but as a checkpoint. Once we cross that psychological barrier, the floodgates open, the retail herd arrives, and by the time they get here, the vault will be empty. The sold-out signs will be up, and the only people holding silver will be the ones who acted when the backward rolling started, the ones who acted today. This is your window. The signal has fired. The data is confirmed. The March contract is bleeding. The January contract is feasting. Don't be the person waiting for March. Be the person demanding delivery now. Secure your metal. Secure your future. The rocket is fueling up on the pad. The countdown has effectively reached 0. This is veiled wealth. The backward roll is the smoking gun. The destination is triple digits. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. See you on the other side.